Hi guys, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you for supporting my first narrated horror story. And never forget, there is always something in the dark, waiting. This happened a few years ago, in my old one-person flat. I had a strange feeling that something wasn't right for a few days. Like, I was sure that the food in the fridge was less than I put back the last time. I found pillows from my couch on the floor, stuff like that. I lived alone back then, so there wasn't anyone else with access to my flat, or so I thought. Well, one night I woke up around 1 in the morning, sweating, and even though I didn't remember, I was pretty much sure I woke up from a nightmare. I decided to take a shower, so I put my phone up in the bathroom for music, turned on the water, and enjoyed my shower. A few minutes in, I heard the door move. I never close it, but it still never moves. I took a look at the shower curtain and I saw a shadow against it, and a look at my phone confirmed someone was there, since I could clearly see a reflection in my screen that showed someone standing next to the shower curtain. It took me a lot not to scream and to keep acting like I didn't see anything, while silently taking the shower head off the holding and turning the water all the way to hot. I'm still kinda impressed of what quick thinking. How water got really hot when you cranked it all the way to hot, and a few seconds later steam was rising and the water hurt my feet flowing to the drain. I turned around, ripped the shower curtain open, and held the shower head right at the person behind. It was a woman. She screamed in pain. I whacked her in the face with the shower head and jumped out of the shower and ran to the door, taking the key out of the lock and locking it close behind me. A little later, she started to bang on the door, but the door didn't give. Thanks God for German quality work. I called the cops and went to the kitchen to get my big kitchen knife, just for safety. I felt like my throat was closing up when I saw it missing and realized there is only one place where it could possibly be right now. The police came and arrested the woman, who turned out to have been the former person living in the flat and was evicted after not paying rent. Seems she made a copy of the key and came into the flat when I was at work and sometimes at night. It's possible that what woke me up in the first place was her, and honestly, I don't even want to think about it. But please, let's not meet again. This literally just took place no more than 30 minutes prior to me typing this. I'm tripping complete balls. Necessary background information will be vague, as now I feel so beyond uncomfortable sharing even the slightest of my personal information on the internet during this sensitive time. I work night shifts, basically fulfilling the role of a secretary. I am always at my workplace, completely alone through the entire night. I am a generally paranoid person as is, especially given the experiences I've had in life and the vulnerability I face by doing this job. All true, there are very quality safety protocols, in fact, for anyone fulfilling this particular role at my workplace. Also, not necessarily relevant, but I am a 120-pound female in my early 20s. For the past several weeks, I've been feeling particularly paranoid at my job for unexplained reasons. It was at a point where I no longer engage in listening to music or podcasts while I work, something that I did nightly prior to the rise of this unexplained gut feeling. As is, there are plenty of loud noises within my environment at all times, or at least they sound particularly loud when everything is otherwise eerily silent. And within the last little bit, I was suddenly feeling too threatened and on edge to risk the thought of me not being able to hear my surroundings. Another detail that is important to this story is that there are windows everywhere in this building, and they're always to be left with the blinds open as per the request of my employer. Naturally, I chalked my growing anxiety up to the window situation, as this has made me uncomfortable since day one. The only place in the building in which I'm granted permission to close the blinds is the office that I use nightly. Unfortunately, this office is front-facing, and even with the blinds closed, would be an easily accessible point, alongside being one of the only locations in the building that would have the lights on during the evening hours. Anyways, tonight I basically said to hell with it and closed the fuck out of those blinds. I had peeped out of the open blinds probably dozens upon dozens of times this evening due to my peaked paranoia and was unable to see anyone at all or anything out of the ordinary. Eventually, I convinced myself to calm down and left my main work area to perform some of my tasks at hand. When I returned, I could visualize an entire silhouette of a man standing no more than 3 feet from one of the windows. I didn't visibly react at first, although I was really terrified. Trying not to draw attention to the fact that I spotted him, I continued to small task I had at hand. He took several photos of me. I could see the flash of his phone camera. He stood there for minutes, taking photos in between the small cracks of the wooden blinds. I panicked and locked myself in a room containing no windows, and not wanting to overreact, still trying to downplay the situation but internally losing my absolute shit. I just continued to do my job shortly after. Not even 5 minutes later, a completely unrecognizable to me man in his late 50s begins banging on the glass doors. There are 2 sets of doors in place, and foolishly and in the most intimidated state, I unlocked and walked through the first door. He was yelling at me and I was in a state of utter dread. We are now face to face with nothing separating us but a thin pane of glass. This man starts demanding that I let him in to use the vending machine in our lobby. Spoiler alert, we don't have a vending machine. When I refuse him access to the building, he begins to yell, taking more photos of me, obviously assuming with sound reason that this had to have been the same man. Worse yet, during his fit of rage, in which he was slamming his fists against the glass door, he called me by my first name. I do not wear a name tag or any type of identifier. Let's not meet again. There is always something in the dark, waiting.